I wanted to go over what is actually the best beginner pet. People say that dogs are the best beginner pet, but I want to say otherwise. Dogs can be quite expensive, they live long, and they just take a lot of your time. You need to take them on walks, you need to train them, you need to do all that stuff. So today I'm going to go over all my different type of pets and which one I think personally, because they're my pets and I have experience with them, which one is really the best beginner pet. Okay, so we're going to start off with fish. Let's start off with dogs. Like I said, dogs are super expensive now unless you get them from the shelter. They can range from from the shelter, you can get them for free from 40 bucks, 60 bucks. I think the most expensive I've ever seen on the shelter is like 80 bucks. But for a full breed, you're gonna not spend anything less than 300, 400, 500. For something more popular, you're gonna spend thousands of dollars for a dog. Not only that, I made a video literally 30 minutes ago today of how much it actually is to spend for your dog. It's like around $900 a year. No, for the first year. That's quite expensive. Not only that, but you have to train them continuously like a toddler. They're like 2 years old forever, but they live up to, depending on the breed, 10 to 20 years. I don't think that's the best beginner pet, especially for like a young child to give that much responsibility. No, thank you. So I'm gonna say the next not best pet that I have is probably a chameleon, because they are too fragile. I'm saying something that a child can like literally take care of and not really have to think of all the complexities that it has to deal with, because chameleons need a lot of different humidity ranges, temperature ranges. They need water consistently. They just need a lot of like technical stuff, different types of UV bulbs, UVA bulbs, UVB bulbs, and that's just, I feel, too much for a child to understand. So this is like without any parent's help. Do not give them a chameleon. They will not probably make it. So my next one that I would talk about, probably fish, specifically saltwater fish. Super complex again. Fish, freshwater fish are also a little more complex, a little less, but I feel like it's still so hard for a child to understand the type of parameters fish need. They need a pH, like they're gonna be like, what the heck is a pH? They need the temperature, they need different types of chemicals from the water to be removed, all this different type of stuff. So fish have to go. Then I'm going to talk about my ball python. Ball pythons they do have some parameters to follow, like humidity and temperature. Not too complex though, because it's like most temperature ideal range for humans anyway. But humidity can be a problem depending on the area that you live in. The thing about these guys is they live a long time, 30 years. So that's a long commitment, more than a dog. The only thing is that you don't really have to take them out. It actually stresses them out whenever you take them out. You can take them out. Think about that, as well as for a small child, depending if they're friendly or not, it could bite. I've never been bitten. I can't talk by experience with that. Also, feeding them could be a little tricky for a little kid, because they strike their prey, their mice or mouse or whatever, rat, and that could be quite scary. So I would not recommend a ball python, even though they're really easy to take care of, super chill, depending on the snake, of course. But yeah, no, I still wouldn't recommend it. Quail, I'm gonna put quail and duck in kind of the same category, like foal farm bird kind of thing is up there next, because all you really have to do again is feed them, give them water every day, clean their coop. So it's kind of like the cat, just outside. So depending on the weather, if it's hot, if it's cold, they're probably not going to want to go and do that. You're going to have to force them to do it because it does have to be done. But that's pretty much it for them. The thing about quail and duck is that they need to be cleaned more often because they are messy. Quail don't live that long. They live 2 years, 5 years max. while some duck species can live up to 10 years. So that's the only difference, is like how long of a commitment you really want. I kind of wouldn't recommend farm animals though, because I feel like a kid wouldn't really want a farm animal. I could be wrong, but quail and duck aren't that great because they're skittish. That's the thing. So they're gonna have to be out there every day, like taking care of them and like actually handling them for them not to be skittish. And that takes a little bit of patience and consistency. So I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think it'd be a good beginner pet. Now we're going into the ranges of, I feel like, beginner friendly. My next pet that talking about my next pet is my ferrets. So ferrets are good, easy. You keep them in a cage with food, water, change litter every day. Take them out to play every day. Super easy pet to take care of, I feel, because especially since they're in a cage, they're contained, you know? You can have a little playpen for them to play outside of. And they're just super friendly. Unless you cut their nails and are very nice to them, don't play rough with them, because then that's how they get aggressive. Then they're very friendly to play with and hang around with. I want to recommend ferrets so bad for a beginner pet, but that's probably the only thing, is that they could be nippy and they have really sharp nails that need regularly clipping, because then they get so long, so sharp, it could hurt very bad. And then again, the litter box thing every day. Food and water is going to be just an everyday animal thing, really. And they don't really live too long, 7 to 10 years. So it's not very a long life commitment either. It is kind of long, but not as long as like a dog, cat, ball python. Next on my list is cats. Don't really have to take them on walks or anything, train them or anything. They just kind of do their own thing. They probably just have to feed them every day. And that's super easy. Super easy responsibility for a child to do. Change their litter box is probably going to be the next hard thing for them to do. Super chill. The only thing is they do live long, but I feel like for how chill they are and how like to themselves they are, they don't really have to do anything. That doesn't really matter. So yeah, they're up there in my beginner pets. So I'm gonna go ahead and say my jumping spider. Super easy pet to take care of. You don't even need to handle them. It's just more of like a display type of pet. Feed them once, twice, 3 times a week the most. Mist daily is probably just the #1 thing that probably isn't going to work with your child, but it's not too hard. If they miss a day, it's okay. And that's all they really have to do. Feed them, mist them, that's it. Super easy type of pet. Not only that, but they're really cheap to initial cost for a pet. I paid like $45 for mine, like terrarium and jumping spider included. So it's super cheap. The only thing I could find wrong with this is your parent probably doesn't like spiders, doesn't like the idea of a spider being in your home, but that's about it. Also, jumping spiders only live for 2 years, so you don't even have to do the commitment, really. So yeah, those are all my animals. And what I think is the most beginner pet is probably going to go to my jumping spider, my cat, or my ferret. Those are going to be my top 3 beginner pets from what I own. Of course, you're not going to just give your child the full responsibility. I would hope not. But if that's the case, those will be my top 3. And even with those top 3, of course, I would still supervise your child and help them along with the process of, you know, caring for an animal. What do you think is the most beginner pet in my list? Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree, please. That's it for this video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.